Hello. In today's video, we're going to try daily rolling average with the flexibility to change the rolling period with the help of a parameter. We already tried the weekly rolling average in the past, but this one is slightly different because we are using the parameter to dynamically update the rolling period. Let's go to PBI and try this. Here is the file and I have the rolling average calculated here. So I have the parameter. So whenever I increase or decrease this slicer here, the rolling average changes, right? So if I bring down this to only 3, what you're seeing is your 3-day moving average. And if I increase this to, let's say, 9 days, the curve smoothens out, right? Because it's a 9-day rolling average. So I have limited it only up to 15. So 15 gives me 15 days moving average. So I'll take you through all these steps on how to create this moving average along with the flexibility to have the parameter. Okay. So before we start, let me delete all this feature and let's recreate from scratch. I removed all the calculation which was done earlier. So now let's start to build the query. So if you look at my data model here, so I have only one table, which is fact, and I have a date which is in the proper date format. And I have one calculated measure here, the sales total, which is the simple sum of fact sales. Okay. And I have one more table, that's a calendar table. So if I go to the data here, this is how it looks like. The fact table, I have the date, which is in the date format, and the sales. So I'll be using these two columns to calculate my daily rolling moving average. And I have a calendar here, date. So this is an auto number, auto calendar starting from Jan 1st, 2018 until 31st December 2018. Okay. So now let me go back to the report here. So the visuals, I have only 3 visuals here. So the first one is the metrics, and the second one, this is the line and column chart, and I have a simple slicer here. Okay. So now let me create a new measure here. Right click and create a new measure. And let me call this as daily rolling average equal to, let me expand this, Alt Enter. I'll create a variable called start day equal to, I'm going to use max function from my dim calendar date. And second variable, I'll call this as end date equal to max of dim calendar date, return, use the calculate function. Expression is my sales total. And filter, I'll use dates between function, between dates. So I'll use my dim calendar date, start date from my variable, that's start day, and end date is my end date. Close the parenthesis and hit enter. Now let's bring this to the values in the matrix and see what we get. So I'll bring this to the matrix. So basically I'm getting the exactly the same values, right? Let me increase this to 2 decimal places. Let me change this, my start date -1. Okay, let's see what we get now. So if you notice here, I'm getting the sum of the current date plus the previous date. 102 plus 101 gives me 203. Similarly, 103 plus 102 gives me 205. So I'm getting the sum. So I want the average, right? So I'll copy this here and divide by, instead of sales total, I'll use distinct count. Okay, hit enter. Okay, so I did a mistake here. Distinct count of dim calendar date. Okay, let me recopy it. instead of sales total, distinct count of dim calendar date. Okay. Okay, so if you look here, now I have an average, right? 103 plus 102, 105 divided by 2 gives me 102.50. Similarly, 104 plus 103 divided by 2 gives me 103.50. So I'm getting the right average. So what I'm going to do is create a new parameter. Select new parameter, data type whole number, minimum 0, maximum until I think 15 is enough. Increment default, I need 3 days rolling average. Okay. Add slicer to this page. I already have a slicer here, so I'll uncheck this one and click OK. And now, so I have the parameter here. I'll bring this to my slicer here. Okay, so now I have the parameter. So this is not doing anything. So now what I'll do, I'll go back to my fact table here. So this is my daily moving average. So I'll remove this hard-coded -1 by my parameter value and hit enter. So my dynamic measure is ready. Okay. So now if you notice here, let me make this to 1. So you notice the difference here. I need to scroll down a bit because if I'm using 8, right? So let me check. Notice this one, 105. It's changing, right? The earlier ones are not changing because we don't have enough historical data, and it takes the parameter based on the distinct count of dates, right? So if I use 2 as my parameter here, let me bring this to 2. So let's say 1, right? So basically it goes 1 day backwards and then take the average. So I'm getting 101.50. So now let me increase this to 2. So it'll, let's say for day 3, it'll sum up 103, 102, and 101 and take the average. So count distinct gives me 3. So the result is 102. So this is working as expected. Okay. So now what I'll do, I'll go here and I will add this to my line values. So daily rolling average, bring this to the line values. So now if I increase my rolling period, let's say 12, you can see the curve is smoothened out, right? When I increase this further, you get a much smoothened curve because we are increasing the rolling period. So if I bring this to 3, you see there is a sudden dip here. So this is how we can use parameter to dynamically update the rolling period. I hope this video was helpful, and if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and share with your friends or colleagues. Okay, and thanks for watching. Have a great day.